Hi, Lynn.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's musical time, so
Oh, you got a musical.
middle school this week, and then the high school's next weekend. Lots of time.
Oh,
That's true.
Are we so quiet?
that's good.
Just as they leave the house, they're turning around and shooting other stuff down over in Alaska, so,
Uh-oh.
yeah, another object.
Hopefully a balloon.
They didn't say. Yeah, it wasn't an aircraft, though.
That's a good thing. They shot down another balloon, right? Was it yesterday? They shot down over next to Alaska, a smaller one?
Yeah,
Shot it down the other day, yesterday.
today.
Oh, was it today?
Yeah.
That come from China too?
They didn't say.
Interesting.
It's over Alaska,
It was the
though.
size of a small car.
Yeah, yeah, it was,
And that's what they shot it down immediately.
okay, call the meeting to order for the Lancaster IDA. Say the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask everybody to remain standing for a moment of silence for Joanna Coleman, who we lost today, who was a town supervisor, town clerk, and a member of this board. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Okay. We have, I guess, Mr. Peterson. Did anybody hear from him? As far as,
I haven't talked to him today.
I haven't heard anything, so I guess we'll just put him in. I believe Ms. McNichol is excused. Okay, I wanted to call for the approval of the previous meeting's minutes, if we could. Do I have a second?
Second.
Anna, in the roll?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Before we get the treasurer's report, which is next, Mike, I just want to let the board know, when I talked to the town clerk, Diane, she was really pleased with Mike and Donna and Andrea here. They got the pilots out so quick. They have never received the monies like this fast ever before. So I want to congratulate them on an excellent job getting that paperwork together, getting it out for the people to pay their taxes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Okay, what, your report if I could?
Thank you. You have the report before you in the packet. It showing a balance in our checking account as of the end of January of $1,590,046.14. We do have 4 vouchers that are in process currently that will be paid today, totaling $33,690. So that leaves an adjusted balance in the checking account of $1,556,356.14. All invoices and vouchers that required board approval have already been approved, so there would be no approvals needed on those vouchers today. Some other items just to note, as you commented regarding the town and county pilot bills, they were all mailed. Any issues that have been coming up, we've been addressing between myself and Andrea and Donna addressing any questions, so those are all addressed, and they're due then next week on February 15th. The audit and parish report, you'll be addressing this today, the auditor's proposal, so pending that approval. I have had some preliminary discussion and work with Drescher and Malecki. Their anticipation, if all is approved today and they move forward, they would have their draft financial statements for you to review next month at your meeting. And then they would issue the financial statements and they could come do a board presentation in April. So we're already working on that timeline. We also, with their assistant, mailed the annual surveys that must go out to each of the pilot properties. Those were included with the pilot bills. They were able to get those in that mailing, and they're already starting to come back on a steady stream, and they're providing copies of those to me each week. So we should have much better data for filing the parish report this year. 1099 forms for independent contractors and attorneys, those have all been issued and filed with the IRS and sent out to them for their tax purposes. And with the banking, the updated signer forms with the new chair and treasurer have been completed and filed. I've received confirmation that's all in place. And I'll also be discussing with them possible short-term CDs to get better interest rates now than what we're getting in the checking account. So I'll keep you updated as I move forward on those. That's all I had. If there were any questions for me.
No, thank you very much.
All right,
Beautiful.
thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, committee reports. Well, none of us really have met yet, but I don't know if, Paul, you're on the executive committee automatically. Do you want to do anything that you've got going on as far as the problems we're having, that type of thing?
No problems. But if you want me to talk about new business, or no, you want to wait?
New business will wait. It's just more or less if you wanted to talk about.
No problems whatsoever.
Okay, we're all set there. The governance committee hasn't met. We're hopefully today, if we do the changes to our bylaws, we'll be able to appoint a third person. Finance and audit, we also need a third person there. There's supposed to be 3, we only appointed 2. So I don't know, Grant, you're on it already? You're already on it? You want to be on that committee also?
If you need a third person, that'd be
There
fine.
should be 3
Sure.
on it. So we'll take a vote to put member Ruda on the finance and audit committee. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And on the roll?
And Member Pizzoni?
Yes.
Member Leary?
Yes.
Member Peterson?
Yes.
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes, can I have?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. Okay, that took care of that, because that was an open slot. I read in the paperwork, there was supposed to be 3 of those.
The bylaws are 2. So if you pass your bylaw change to make it 3, then I
No,
think,
well, the governance committee is the one that was the one where we had the problem.
well, I guess when you get to the bylaw changes, we can talk about that.
Yeah, because I believe audit and finance had 3, but the governance is where the 2 were having the issue with.
Okay.
One document called for 2, one called for 3. So we'll just, okay, on the unfinished business, Lucas James on Broadway, that one there basically was postponed because of the glitch with the B. They changed their timing. We thought it was 1 week to get the public notice in. They turned it into 2 weeks. So we're going to have to make sure it gets into the B on time for the next meeting.
Are you guys going to keep your Friday times?
This is something we're going to discuss, and that way we can, because that's part of the bylaw changes, we're going to see about the day and time, because right now we're on a Friday, and I
Right.
think we're better off because of holidays, when we get to that point, going to a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Do you
Whether
want
it's-
your public hearings to take place?
It's going to
before your
take
board
place,
meeting?
before the meeting, so we'll
Okay.
set that day accordingly, however our day turns up after today's meeting. And I just I haven't heard anything on the unfinished on the bonds. There was
No, no.
adjustable rate, nobody's contacted me, I haven't heard anything.
Nope.
Okay, go to the new business if we can. This would encompass the IDA bylaw changes. I think everybody should have a copy of that. And what we can do is, we can do this just one at a time, one section at a time, I think would be the easiest. And so if you go to page 3 of our bylaws, you should have a copy of that.
I don't have it.
That one there, I turn around and didn't copy my note.
Okay.
There were a few table items, Chairman, on your agenda. I don't know if you wanted to handle those under old business. Appoint secretary, which was tabled in the prior meeting, and award contract for auditing services, which was also tabled at the prior meeting.
Okay, that was for Malecki and that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be
Put it on
under
in the wrong area on my sheets.
That's
So-
okay, yeah,
So
I
we can turn around, yeah, we'll go back then to unfinished business, thank you very much. So we want to turn around and accept Malecki's offer to do our audit. And Mike, what was the fee for that? It was, what,
For the
$12.50?
3 separate items, it's a total of $8,450, which is a $150 increase, but it had an increase for at least the prior 2 years.
Okay, so
$8,450.
$50 for that, for audit. Okay, make a motion, do I have a second?
Second?
On the roll?
Yes.
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 And then Chair Romero.
Yes. Okay, and reporting as the secretary, we can, you gonna take that?
Sure.
Dave? Okay, we're gonna put Mr. Renault as the secretary. And do I have a second
Second?
on the roll?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And then Chair Romero.
Yes. Okay, I think we got everybody set where we're supposed to be. Okay. Page 3, what was it? Article 1. Well, okay, this one here was something I was thinking of adding in, if you wanted to read it over. It's not in our bylaws now, but this would be, in other words, once a vote's taken before the end of end of the session, if somebody decided they wanted to change their vote, they could. If you want to just scrap that, we can just take it right out now.
So that's in there right now, and we're,
No, this, page 3, Article 1 was not in. This is it's an add-on. You didn't get copies of all this? Oh, they were only electronic?
Yeah, I think you handed them out last time.
Yeah, so-
okay, so
Oh, yeah, I did, but, we didn't have any here.
So it's on the website here. if you want.
Yeah, well, I've got
Not to change.
it on my phone, too, or somebody,
Not to change.
she did,
If you want, go across the hall real quick if you want.
I'm just gonna look over your shoulder if that's not a problem for me.
do you want to just make a few copies for everybody? If you don't mind, if we can just take a minute. And who needs a copy?
And
I'll
do.
take-
Grant?
Yeah, I'll take
One
it.
copy? Okay, we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. You want one?
Yes.
5, please.
So go over that. You're going to make a change or an add here again?
Well, yeah, when you read it, basically what it's going to do is, if during a meeting, okay, you're having a discussion, we have a vote, you start thinking about it, you want to go back, and you want to say, well, can I change my vote? Because some of the discussions, things change after a final vote, but if you want to leave it, we can just scrap that whole thing. You got to read the wording of it. But
Okay.
everything else is going to be basically typos for the most part that were left in over the years that have to be changed.
there a title on that, Kevin?
Pardon?
Is there a title on that it's under? And
She's got my paperwork.
Kevin, are you thinking about moving dates and times of meetings? Do you want to look at calendars while we're just waiting?
Well, definitely the days. I'd like to, but like I said, there's going to be a board decision. I don't,
well, we wait here. Want to have a quick discussion on it here?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, well, it's part of the bylaw changes. One of them will be jumping ahead without you seeing what's going on here.
Okay, we can hang on.
So we're looking at Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
It's what my best guess would be, a Tuesday or a Wednesday rather than, because Fridays, you run into the holidays.
Okay, I'm
Sure.
sorry.
And what time are we looking at?
Whatever time the board
This is the
decides.
change in the
It's
bylaws.
going to be everybody go
Okay, I don't
at a
have that.
timeout, and we'll go from there. So we're going
I don't
to
need
pass
that.
it.
Well, since I'm retiring
I got
from
you.
M&T Bank at the end of April, I'm pretty good with anything.
Yeah,
at
I'm
this
pretty
point.
good. We're in a good same boat.
I'll be I have to wait till after work, so that 4 o'clock time or 3:30 time works well for me.
So you can do 3:30?
If that's probably the earliest I could do, so if there's something before it, 3:30 is the earliest I can get here.
So you got to leave an opening, a window for public hearings and that.
Gotcha.
I'd rather not make it earlier than 4. It's hard. I'm still working.
Yeah,
Downtown,
and that's
so-
why, like I said, the big thing right now is the day, because we're on Fridays.
Yeah.
And Fridays, you got a lot of holidays, and we moved a lot of meetings around last week.
Sure.
And
Oh, I'm sorry.
so that's what we're figuring, Tuesday or Wednesday is a better fit.
To get notifications out.
Thank you. All right, so if it's 4
The
o'clock on
top two
Tuesday or
sheets are
Wednesday,
just basically
I'm good.
what I want to replace it with, the bottom sheets of the actual verbiage, except for that first section, that was something I came up with. And like I said, if you just want to scrap it, we can, but I just wanted to bring it out for your consideration.
So this very first paragraph, motions for
Reconsidering
reconsideration and
change.
changing
Right.
one's vote.
So that's not in there now,
It's not in there now.
and we can decide whether we want it or not.
Yeah, you can add it in, or everything else is in there. Some of it's just because it's typos.
Are there other organizations that have language like this?
Yeah, Erie County,
The county IDA?
the county itself, too.
So you put it up for a motion, and then on the question, somebody has comments.
And
So
changes
you haven't,
somebody's
you
vote.
have, but you
But you
haven't
haven't
voted yet.
voted yet.
Well, a lot of times you're voting, but then comments sometimes come up while people are voting. We've had that happen many a times at town board meetings, where one member doesn't, expresses themselves late. Like I said, we can just scrap it. I'm just
I
bringing
would be
this
more
up for
comfortable
consideration.
scrapping it.
Yeah, I would think you'd get your questions out of the way
That's
before you
the
start
point
taking
of under
a
the
vote.
question, I agree.
Any other comments?
I guess I don't really have a problem with it. Obviously, if the majority doesn't want it, the majority doesn't want it, but if you do change your mind based on when you get done with the regular meeting and there's some other discussion about it, well, actually before the meeting ends, I don't have a problem with it being in there. I don't think it hurts us in any way. But again, questions are going to be asked during the discussion period before the vote. So is there anything legal issue of doing it, Kevin?
Well, I mean, bylaws are really the governance for the board. So, at the end of the day, the board gets to decide how it wants to set the parameters for voting and reconsideration. When I have seen this provision at all, I have not seen it with an IDI, but I would agree that this, at some municipalities, you will see this. I have not seen this provision where you could change your vote at the next meeting. And, if you want my opinion on that, I'll express it. If you don't, then I won't.
I got an opinion on it. I don't like that.
I don't
You
either.
don't like it?
No, I think that's a long time to get a mind changed. A lot can happen in a month that shouldn't happen. If there was some misinformation at the beginning of the vote, where I don't have the right information and I make a vote on that and later find out that wasn't correct, I would like to have some recompense to come back after, but I don't think a month, a day, the same meeting, a reconsideration, a raise of a hand for a minute and stop the train for a second that day. I think that all of us should have the information we need before we take a vote. And if you all of a sudden do reconsider something, that maybe that should be, I would agree with that, but I don't like a month. And
Well, I'm reading your second bullet point here. And I'm understanding not that there's a month's time that goes by, but that a member has a right to change his or her vote up to the time that the result is announced. That's at the end of the asking everybody what their vote was. Not, where's this month, where's this time frame about a month?
exactly.
Where is
The
that?
first bullet point.
Right
Did I
here.
miss that?
So,
It would be the
Or, it
next
says-
meeting.
Our next LAD meeting.
unless,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or at the next LD, I mean, that's a month.
No,
Well,
I
you
think
can,
you-
I might consider the second one, whereas you're going down the table here.
Yeah.
And you said, oh crap, you know, I think I'll go back.
all right, well, what you can do is if you want, split it then, if you want to just keep the one shall, when a motion is to reconsider or a motion to change one's vote has been defeated, we can keep that. If you want to get rid of that, is made up on the same day, we can just scratch out or at the next LIDA meeting.
I still
Or
just think
scrap it all
that,
together.
yeah, I think that your vote is your vote, and it shouldn't be, well, oh, shoot, that person voted yes, so now I'm going to change it to no. Like, your vote is your vote and your thought and your research on that
Right.
item, and
We'll take a vote on it. Want to make a
I like,
motion? Make a
I like
second?
Andrew?
the mayor's,
Extra copy of this?
I like that by the end of the, when we get to this.
I didn't offer that as a solution.
No, like I
no,
said,
but to-
rather than make it, this is something that can always be
Okay.
readdressed later on if
Thank
we
you.
want to. It can be reworded. I'm just trying to get the bylaws caught up to date because we have issues. So why don't we just take a vote on it and we can just.
As it's
scrap it.
written.
As it's written, we can
Oh.
scrap it. So we'll just take a vote on, so I have a second on scrapping that.
I'll second that.
Okay.
so is it to not have it or to?
We're eliminating it. I'm not
eliminate it.
presenting it. I'm removing it right now.
Gotcha.
Right, yeah, Kevin, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'll vote to eliminate that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, on the second one, the chief financial officer, the way it is written, if you look at your sheet right now,
Okay.
there was a conflict that I had mentioned at the last meeting between myself and the CEO, and because both of us can put instruments out, and the state going back had said that in one document that we saw last year, there's a conflict there as to who's actually signing the documents for the LIDA. Paul would have absolute power to sign anything we got that we give him authorization to do, but it's got to just be by written resolution. That would be the only difference, because right now it's an open-ended book.
Yeah, I'd make the motion for that change.
Second.
Second? Okay.
Yes.
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 Yes. On the page 6, the committees, the executive committee, there was a typo, that's all it is. The way they had it written, it was the CEO, the CEO, in the absence of the CEO. That, I believe, should be the chair, and not the, because it was just a basic typo, and
I don't think that's correct. with
you don't, okay.
respect. No, because the executive committee, the way this is written, the executive committee is the chairman and the treasurer. What it says is that the non-voting member of the executive committee will be the CEO and the CFO. This deputy CEO, which I don't believe you have, would be a non-voting member of the executive committee if the CEO wasn't present. So I think it's correct as it's written. I think the other question you have to ask yourself is you don't really have a DCEO. Wait, I don't think you appoint one.
No, we've
So-
never, at least we didn't have one last year.
So you could just simply wipe out the DCEO piece in this section here, or get rid of it entirely throughout your bylaws. I'm not sure that Lida's ever had one. I mean, but I'm only speaking from the last year and a half of experience. So.
Yeah, like I said, this is something I just came across. It didn't make sense to me, the way you're explaining it. It could, but yeah, we could just take that completely out of the mix and just remove that complete section, I guess, for the executive committee, or that line, actually.
And we know of no other towns or anything that have a DCEO?
Don't know of any IDAs that do it that way. They wouldn't reference it necessarily in there. They might have a deputy director, sure.
Okay.
I mean, it does exist. I think the idea is simply to say that if Paul's not present, that whoever his second is would be there, but we don't have a second. So you could leave this in your bylaws. It's not doing any harm because you don't have one anyways, right? If the agency changed course on that at some point and did appoint a deputy CEO, then that would be his role here. So you could just leave it.
Okay, well, okay, we'll just leave that alone. We won't even bother voting on it, because we'll just leave it the way it is in the bylaws. Okay, the governance committee, one document says we're supposed to have the chairman and one other member, and the other document says 2 other members, so I want to correct that and make the governance committee the chairman and 2 other members.
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second that.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, the time and place on here, I know we have a preliminary, or what was put out last year. The Friday really, I think, is a bad idea, only because the holidays, having to move calendar days around. Change the time and date. Is there a preferred day?
What day do we have, what is the day that we have to have?
Right now, in here,
What is the day we have to have? it be?
Thursdays, I would believe it's Thursdays.
Thursdays? So Tuesday, Wednesday, perfect, so we can get there by Thursday.
right. Well, to be, you got to have a 2-week notice now.
All right, but
Yeah, but
You know,
Yeah. Okay.
I think once you get past Thursday,
yeah, you're
Yeah,
done.
all right.
You're done for the
so
week. For the
we got
yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday for sure.
So-
Or Tuesday, Wednesday.
But what's
So-
the preferred day?
But what is the proposition to the language?
Well, right now, in here, what is in our bylaws is the meeting shall be held on the second Tuesday of January at 8:45, and it was always the second Tuesday
Correct.
at 8:45. We changed it. The bylaws really weren't followed last year because there was supposed to be 10 days' notice given to the board and that, so that's why I just want to get that cleared up.
But what you're proposing means that we would need to keep changing the bylaws every year based
Well,
off of the
no,
date?
Well, no, I'm trying to, well, okay, do you want to meet on Tuesday at 8:45?
But what would you like the language to say? The annual meeting, the agency shall be held?
Do you want it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
Couldn't it be language like at a time determined?
Well, then you're moving it around all the time. I think the second, either Tuesday or Wednesday of every month should be the.
Yeah, I think you need that for the reorg, to have that clearly spelled out in there, that it's the second Tuesday, second Tuesday of
Second week.
January.
Just like
and
our
then the
town
other-
board meetings are always the second Monday.
I think this board is different in that because of how people's schedules revolve, and, I mean, that could forever be a changing thing.
No, it would always be, if we decide to go with a Tuesday, it would always be the second Tuesday of the month.
For this year, but if you get a member on who works Tuesdays and now needs to shift it again, now you have to adapt your bylaws again
Well-
and again and again.
Well, but that's part of this, it's part of this, get the 10-day notice.
What Lynn's looking at is the idea that we could say that it's voted on the first or second meeting, and then that's,
Well,
Right.
at any point in time during the whole year, as long as 10 days' notice is given, any one of us can change a bylaw. And we vote on whether or not that bylaw goes through. What I'm trying to do is get away from the Friday, and 10 days' notice was given to everybody. I'm opening the floor for discussion on what day would the balance of the board like.
I think it's the
If you want to keep it on Friday at 4 o'clock, then I'm just want to put it in the papers the way it was supposed to be done.
well, I think that what they're saying is that the wordage should say at the beginning of the term of the board, they shall decide what the meeting will be, and this board has decided.
But see, now you're getting into that 10-day window. You're missing the point of the bylaws. You've got to get 10-day notice to make any changes in the bylaws. So if we set this and it goes to next January, the new board has to come in on that day, and if they want to change it, they give 10-day notice and they change it in February. They can change that.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm
That's
just
what
saying,
should
for
happen.
this year, it would be the balance of this year would be on a Tuesday at whatever time, let's say it's Tuesday, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, if I may, I think that maybe there's two separate issues. Mr. Danner could comment, certainly if different, but in here, it looks like it's just, in the bylaws, it's just referencing the annual meeting.
The one meeting,
So
right?
you
Correct.
can, so you can make that Tuesday at 4 o'clock, the first Tuesday in January or second Tuesday. And then the rest of the year, I think, would be at your discretion. It could be on a Tuesday or you could change it. So I think it's two separate issues. I don't think your monthly meetings are in the bylaws, at least that's not what I'm reading.
No, I'm not
It's
either.
just designating the one. The
Okay.
rest would be at your discretion. You could have it at the same time every month. But
Well,
Well, I think part of it is in order that, I mean, the town board appoints the people who are going to be on there, and that first meeting is usually set.
So you
So,
need to set that.
Right.
then
Right.
You could.
and then everything else, whatever we want to have it.
Agreed. I agree
So-
with that.
Okay, so what do we want to set it at? Tuesdays at 3:30, under the belief we're all going to be
You
back
were
again
good,
next
Rob,
year?
so whatever you guys present is going to get.
So are we just
I mean,
looking to
it's-
set
that's what I'm saying. I
that,
wanna-
so we're looking to set the January 2024 meeting?
The first meeting.
In, right.
Yeah.
Would be
Well, if
first
you want
meeting
to do
forever.
Tuesday, first Tuesday in January, 4 o'clock, that would work. I mean, 8:45 for you, though? That's
4
not.
o'clock?
4
No,
o'clock.
I
You
can't do
can't do it.
8:45, no.
I mean, I could move mornings, but
So do you want to do the,
4 o'clock on Tuesday, that's fine.
Sure. I mean, I'm for that.
Second Tuesday of every, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, the
That's
second
what the annual,
Tuesday.
second
Second
Tuesday.
Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
You're going to have the first Tuesday.
first, right?
Yeah, because whenever we have the organizational meeting, might not give you 10 days if somebody wanted to change it anyway, so at least this way it'll be set. And by December, if something changes, we could always go for another 10 days, right? And
Great.
change it to something else.
An occasional blizzard.
So the language that you're looking at is the annual meeting of the agency shall be held on the second Tuesday of January at 4 o'clock PM at the town boardroom.
Beautiful.
For January. Okay, then what do we, the board,
Now, on a monthly
let's get this one
I'll make
solved.
that, yeah,
We
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second, oh, sorry.
Yes.
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 So I think what you're talking about now
Yep.
is the meeting.
Next meeting.
What we're going to be
What we're gonna do
doing.
now then, we'll
Correct.
make a motion to turn around and discuss that and
Yeah.
change our weekly or our monthly meetings, if we can.
If I could just ask, was there a document, a resolution that came out and said when all the meetings were going to be? Or was that just?
Yes,
not a
there
motion?
was.
Was that a
Last-
resolution?
There was, and I don't remember if it was in November or December, but it was
Yeah, that was presented as a,
set.
I think I've
as
got
to
it
the
here.
next- This current year, that's how you
It's a
guys ended
draft.
up here again this year on Fridays.
Okay, so how are we going to
It
go
wa-
about changing the resolution that said all the times?
Well, that was,
You have
that
the
was,
right to change the meeting times. You just
Okay.
have to adopt a change to that, that's all. This is a different board, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think on that was just a draft anyways, when it was put up and accepted. It was stamped draft, if I remember correctly.
Tuesdays work for you, Lynn?
Looked like the band of the mayor's here.
Tuesday work. I'm at
Tuesday, 4 o'clock?
Tuesdays at 4, that's fine.
I will make the motion for Tuesdays at 4 o'clock.
I will second it.
What, second week of the week?
Yeah, the second Tuesday of
Sorry,
each month.
second Tuesday. Yeah, we don't want to meet every Tuesday. Second Tuesday of each month at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, this one here, Kevin and I had a little bit of a discussion on,
Oh, yeah.
just removing the Lancaster Bee and the Buffalo News, just the wording from the document, and just putting in that it shall be mailed, emailed, delivered via telephone message to the assigned publication designated by the LIDA. And because we had the source at one point in time, you've got the Buffalo News that was doing it, that no longer does it. Andrea can always just email out to other news organizations, but we turned around and made a declaration that the B was our publication for this year. Next year, somebody might want to change it, and we don't have to change the bylaws because of wording. So I just went to a general designation on that. So I don't know if that's going to, anybody has opposed to something of that nature. Too many papers come and go.
Yeah. And how long they're going to be around.
Yeah, I have no
What's
objection.
the guidelines in choosing, and calling for a special meeting?
Got to have, a special meeting?
Right, so we need a majority group, or you could call it, or you need a certain number of people? I mean,
Well, a special meeting can be called by basically almost any member, I believe.
and
So either the chair or two
normally.
members of the agency can
that's what
call
I
a
was
special
looking
meeting.
for. So, but do we need to make that public?
Yes.
Yes.
So I don't see really mailed, emailed, delivered by a telephone message, how that makes that public, unless we're posting on buildings and certain places.
Well, we're giving it to them so they can put it in the paper, and we're going to pay for it.
Oh, okay, so then,
And then if she emails, let's say the Buffalo News, they don't have to print it, but she gave them the option to do what they want as a public service. But we actually officially, we made the Bee our official newspaper, so when she puts out any type of thing, it goes to them automatically. We pay for that advertisement to
Yeah.
go in their paper.
I just think it falls into the same, some of the similar guidelines as to how much time you have to give them. Like,
Yeah, so-
can we call a
But
meeting?
they just
and
did this. They just
Okay.
went to their 2 weeks. That's why they caught us off guard. It was
Yeah, but
1
the-
week before.
So we couldn't call a special meeting, let's say, for next Tuesday?
So, yeah, I think the mayor's onto something here. The obligation to notify the media is from the open meetings law, right?
Yep.
And so when this body decides, hey, we need to do something out of the ordinary and meet off schedule, the public is presumed to know the regular schedule because you post it, right? And we just did it again, right? You're going to go post those meetings on the website that you're going to be meeting now every Tuesday. But if you decided to have a meeting next Tuesday because something emergent came up, you have to the extent practicable, get that information to the media. And it's not a publishing requirement necessarily. It's noticing them. You can email them if it's appropriate. If you have the reporter's name at the Buffalo News who covers Lancaster IDA meetings, for example, or town meetings, or there's someone from the Bee that does that here. That's all it is it's to make sure that the presumption of openness and transparency is communicated in those types of settings. So I don't think publishing, especially, the challenge with the Bee is we've already talked about it a couple of times. You would not be able to get a special meeting if that was your sole way of advising the public that that's when the meeting is taking place.
And that's why I figured we just take the names out, and then she can go to anybody we have to try to get it out there for the public.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's
'Cause
right. But
otherwise we're
I'm
limiting
saying that I
ourselves.
think when you're doing, and maybe this is the mayor's point, there's other ways you notify people.
Social media?
Yes, you push it out, and it's like, hey, we're having a special meeting. If you do that, you're going to meet your obligation, because you're doing what you can to let the public know so they can participate and fill up the room. So,
Are we posting on the town board right outside here?
that's right.
Yes, so why don't we
Exactly right, Bob.
be doing that?
So do you want to keep that?
I'd
take the
ask
wording out?
social media of some type on that wording, right?
Yeah, so the other thing that I would say just generally is that these are bylaws and they're built around concepts that you see with, corporate, special meetings, notice like that. There's another overlay here of what we have to do, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, that you're complying with the open meetings law when you're doing these notifications. So your point, I think, Mayor, is that's not in here. I guess I would say to you that it's still something we have to do, and then the question is do you want something in your bylaws that reflects that specifically? Not every organization, municipal or IDA, does that, but they're still following those rules because they have to. So a little of that is making sure that the board is aware of those requirements and making sure that those are done when we do call a special meeting. We work with Andrea to make sure that that's out there so that the media does know about the meeting.
Well, I see with the two of us being on here, we have access to our village's Facebooks and websites and stuff to allow any changes in a meeting.
Oh, yeah, because you could notify their clerks, right? Who would handle your web for the village in the
Yeah, you should
Well,
always
villages.
post if you know a week in advance, that's the rule. But when we're talking about emergent meetings, like the Tuesday meeting that was referenced, that's a little different, right? So, but yes, you're using the posting, as Bob said, it's like, that's where you're gonna see that. Because that is official notice, right? To publish, wherever you normally post for the IDA is where you'd post that meeting notice, because that's where people are technically gonna look. In the way things work now, I mean, you've got a website, right? Like, that's a natural, right? Post there as well.
The recommendation then would be, Andrea, if you've got their website information, when we do have meetings or something, if you send them over the documents, they can post them on their website, so the people in Depew, and they don't even have to go on the town, ours, they can even go on their own in the village, and then they'll know what's going on. But yeah, so I make a motion to remove the wording, the B in the Buffalo News, if they want to accept it or reject it.
So what will the link?
All it's going to say is that we're removing the last line of the B in the Buffalo News it would just be blank because we made our commitment's going to be over the internet, and the B has already been made our official newspaper.
So you want the replace with language is what you want to have in there?
The replace is underneath, right. It's just clean, there's no paper, there's nobody, but it's giving the update to email wasn't mentioned anywhere.
I think I'd like to change some of the wording in here. If you want to throw in some legalese, but something to the effect that notice of such meeting shall be promptly mailed, emailed, delivered, or via telephone message well, we need something else in there then, in compliance with New York State Public Meetings Law. Something to that effect would probably be better. That leaves us the door open for what we got to do, like posting it on the board outside here for town board meeting type things.
Something then, message to be a signed publication or official webs of,
I don't think you have to be that specific. I'd just say in compliance with New York State public meeting laws. That way we're not tying down to, we're doing these things. We're getting the information out there, our own website, we're posting it in different areas, and by doing all that, we're complying with New York State.
Why can't it just be simply, notice of such meetings shall be promptly made under the normal, how we communicate regular meetings?
In compliance.
That's board out here or website, whatever it might be.
So,
wording makes sense?
Bob and I are on the same page on this, I would say.
Did you get that? I guess it was good.
No, it was, I got it.
Okay.
No, I think that makes sense because it's very general. It's exactly what we're talking about, which is, let's give the notice in compliance with the law, right? And then we'll work with the details on that. Because remember, this can be something as, hey, what if it's a 24-hour meeting, right? That's going to change the way you do it. If you know you're having a special meeting, maybe you should tell the meeting and they should post it, right? But again, there's not a one-size-fits-all answer to this because of the timing of those kind of special meetings. Does it make sense?
Complying with the law covers it all.
Okay, so that'll be a change that we'll get in there. Okay, basically then, the next one was just
Can someone just read
I'm
what
sorry,
the
yeah,
language is going to be, and then we got to...
take a motion.
It was so
to
good the
accept
first
it.
time, I don't think I can remember, but if
No,
Kevin wrote it all down, that'd be great.
I did write it all down. I can repeat what I think the language is that you guys want to vote on here.
Please.
The replaced language would read, notice of such meetings shall be promptly mailed, emailed, delivered, or via telephone message in compliance with New York State open meetings law.
Thank you.
That'll work.
Make a motion, we accept that.
Second.
Yes.
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 There you go.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, just section 5, it was the order of the business in there. Originally, there was no pledge that I noticed in there, and I did reverse it. It should be the pledge and roll call, second. But that was just something that I wanted to get that in there, and we also did not have a section in our bylaws for public comments, which we've been allowing, but it wasn't in the bylaws. So I just want to add that in, so it's actually part of the record then.
Motion to approve is presented?
Second. Yes.
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 Yes. The other three items here, Article 5, it's just because of the Roman numerals, it's just a typo. Article 5 should be Article 6. Article 6 should be changed to, Article 6 should be changed to Article 7, and Article 7 is changed to Article 8. So that's all that is. There's nothing more than just typos being corrected in the filings. So I can have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second. Yes.
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 Thank you, everyone, for your patience on that.
Thank you.
Okay, Grant, we got the computer. You want to give us the information on that? Since you're the one, I split it into 2 votes, so if you noticed, I asked her to split it into, the resolution into 2, so that the computer would be on one side and the maintenance is on another.
So went out and got pricing had a tech company go out and get pricing for computer scanner, setup and a maintenance. The maintenance is set up to be canceled at any time, so it's not continuous. So if there's a point where we don't need it anymore, if there's a point where we need more help or less help, or as I like to call it, a la carte, so we can take the pieces we want and the pieces we don't need. There are 7 hours built into it for setup to get it running, to get everything set up and ready to go. I've worked with this group before. I work with a different group now. This one, when I went to him, I find him to be very friendly and easy to work with, and he has time. There's 2 of them. They have time to spend with setting it up with people if on-site help is needed. It's not over the phone, it's in person.
Okay.
So
Any questions?
yeah, I'm sorry. So their maintenance plan, I mean, what does it include? It seems fairly robust in price.
Yes.
So what are they going to be doing?
That part's going to be the security and the cybersecurity on it for the information coming and going over the network. They'd be monitoring that.
Okay, and they would be doing that from a remote
Yes.
facility and not coming in here to do it?
No, absolutely not.
Did you talk to our TechNet people about this? Who
I
are
have
responsible
not.
already for the building?
I have not.
All right.
Okay, this is,
I'm all for getting a computer, getting it set up in there. I assume, did you guys buy the software that we're going to be using for it last
that was
year?
another discussion we were going to be talking about.
Okay, that hasn't been purchased yet?
No.
On that grant, now, see, I wasn't sure what that was, but here, that's the company that we're dealing with now, and we have a contract with them, and that's got to be changed over by, I think it's August. They
Right.
came in last year, and they're giving us time to change,
Well,
they're updating.
that's their website. That's completely different than the hardware.
Okay,
So this would be, this would be them, and GovTech is specific to the website.
Is there, so TechNet does all of the networking computers in the building?
Yeah.
Is there any language in their contract? Is this going to be housed in this building?
Yes.
So is there any
Well, there's got to be,
issue?
definitely got to be coordination when somebody's coming in to do something.
Sure.
I don't think there's a specific that we can't use anybody else for because this is a different, organization, the IDA, but bringing something into the building to make sure it doesn't interfere with anything else going on. So I'd prefer, get a price from them as well and see what it would cost for them to do the maintenance on it, the security and the rest of it, since they're looking at the rest of the town's stuff in this building. and they're readily available to come in if we have a crash or whatever, physically show up and be there and take care of it, so.
I agree with you. We use them as well in Depew and Andrew and Joe. They've been super, so I don't think you'd want to mix.
Oh, no, I'm 100%, yeah. And
I didn't know where
even
this was
at-
going either.
Even at best, they need to be able to work together, even if we go a different way, they
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, yeah, I don't know how you want to word it.
Well, what we can do, there are two separate issues right now. The computer system is a $2,000 expenditure, we can vote on that.
Okay.
And we can table, if you want, the maintenance program. We're gonna automatically get 7 hours for him to set it up.
Okay.
I do know, I mean, we go through TechNet also in the village, that we do get our equipment recommendations through them as well.
Yeah, what do you use, your Dell usually?
So we need to table it until we talk to tech, well, the whole thing. It has,
whole thing,
unfortunately,
okay.
it has to be, because if they're providing the security and it's there, if all the other governments are leasing the equipment and that's how the security is coming with it, then that's what we have to look at. We can't, if we go in with our own equipment and something goes wrong and we're using them,
Agreed.
we're holding the bag.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, like, I'm very big on, the only is everything à la carte, so we know what we're paying for when, and if we don't like it, we can walk and go to something else. So I'm all
I just
for
want to
talking.
get this moving, we've been sitting
I
on it
will,
for
I
a
will
year.
get TechNet first thing Monday morning. I have no problem with that.
And what about the program that we need to?
Yeah, I was
collect all
gonna
that
ask him
information?
about, there's a couple,
The program has to come from Amherst. They own it.
Well, the company, I looked at this online, that the same type of program, I think, is available, isn't it, from this company that produced it in the first place?
They
Or are
have-
there modifications that,
That made to work with it. It's basically a hyper spreadsheet.
so what do we gotta do did we need Amherst in here and the other people can't change it, the tech people?
The tech people wouldn't be able to change it. Amherst would load everything for us. And
Okay.
that would be, the object was to get them to build everything for us, and then what the pricing would be if we needed them along the way.
I'm sorry, I can't imagine that your company there couldn't work on any platform, so.
Oh, they can?
Yeah, so that's two issues then, I guess, is, the cost, and then you're gonna stay with the software part of it, right?
But
And then,
Well, that's coming from Amherst, which is not, yeah, I mean, they got this right now, what do they want to charge us for coming in and putting it on the computer?
I don't remember what the original price was on it.
40,000.
It
Well,
was
that was-
load everything and then put it
Yeah,
on.
that was loading everything at then $2,500 a month if we let them service every month.
But
That sounds kind
the
of
board
crazy.
voted no
No.
to that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not an option.
But
So I guess we got to explore about them just, selling us that program, allowing us to utilize that program, and coming in and training our people on the usage of that program.
Right.
Can we approach them on that?
I will not be willing to do that.
All right,
What's that?
I'll try.
What's the alternative
sit down.
then?
Buy and build a new program from scratch.
You don't want to do that.
No, I mean,
is there any
what I'm saying
program
is,
similar to that out there? that's
Oh, I'm
already
sure we
built?
can, I'm sure it is, but reinventing the wheel is,
Oh, no, I realize what you're saying, that's why I'm trying
Right.
to, you guys know how this stuff works, I don't.
Grant, the program, we're sold on that? Is that what the deal is?
I like the Amherst program. I do not like the idea of being stuck to them for maintenance of it forever.
Okay,
I
well,
agree with that.
we can hook them up to Andrew or Joe and,
I'll talk to Andrew and Joe and see what they recommend for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for that too.
see if it works on.
Yeah, like I said, this is completely, I'm out of water on this,
So
I have no
I will
idea.
reach out to TechNet, and it's Andrew and Joe on Monday morning, and that'll be the first thing I do. And we'll see what their recommendation is for a program and what we already have there.
Appreciate it.
And
Yeah,
then,
no.
and then are you going to contact Amherst as well, whoever over there to see?
Once they say, if they say there's another program and Amherst is dead in the water, then we'll go with the other program.
Okay.
Okay, well then I guess I'll make a motion to table the computer and the maintenance package. We might as well do them both together since neither one's moving forward. We don't need the second without the first. So I make a motion to table that?
Second?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to send out an RFP for legal services. We did it last year, and just get a letter of intent, memorandum, or whatever. So we did just to basically just ask if somebody wants to send a cover letter and/or what their fees would be.
I'll second that.
No, for me.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes. Okay, this one here, we've had a number of discussions on, motion to rescind the chair to enter into an agreement with the economy assessment and feasibility study. We're through 2 months in, and we still do not have a contract that's ever been presented.
So I did follow up with Dave, and I asked like what the document was that needed to be signed. And it's a one-line, one-page. I can forward it to you.
Well, I'm going to ask the board to rescind that because after consideration, I'm looking at it again and just ask the board, it's going to be up to them if they want to move forward. It was presented as one document. It's actually 2 separate projects, 2 separate companies, 2 separate contracts. They each specify different options. We could have voted on them separately, and that's why I just want to rescind this, and then we can bring it up for a vote as 2 independent pieces of legislation.
If that's a motion, I will second that.
Yeah, I think under the question, I think that it's still something that is going to be good for this community. It is going to be something that benefits the village of Depew, the town of Lancaster, the village of Lancaster, supported by the IDA. It's within the realm of what an IDA should be doing for its municipalities, and it will give our communities direction to help us reach our economic development goals, whatever they might be through the end of this process. So I disagree with the fact that this was some sort of 2-piece, like it makes it seem like they're...
Well, you've got a consultant first, and then you got Marigold Consulting. They both are defined very independently in this document. The document you handed us, the payment schedule is broken down into 2 separate payment schedules. And all I want to do is let the board have a decision on whether or not they want to go and take phase 1 of the project and not phase 2, or vice versa, or accept all of it.
I disagree again with that, I mean, yes, it's broken up into 2 different activities, but the ultimate goal of both of those activities is to get to a study that will be impactful for us to be able to share with the municipalities. That we talked about the ability to bring everybody together. Like, that is what Lida should be doing, is bringing the town together and the village together in the village of Depew. And we finally have the opportunity to do that with all parties at the table. And yes, there's an expense to it, but I think that what we would be getting from this, as the prior board felt, is just going to put us in the right direction. I don't think that, it's exactly the Amherst situation, right? We looked at that and said, well, we're going to maybe not do this, and now we're going back to Amherst to ask them to, after we voted no, to say, hey, can you help us out now? Because we realize we're in a tough spot. So we're going to go to another company and say, can you do half of this, or maybe just a piece of this, because we're not really sure, or we don't want to spend the money. I think we're setting this Lida board up in a bad way, that nobody is going to want to work with us.
My reading of this was, it talks about the master plan in there as well. We're talking about the master plan separately in other meetings that the town is aware of. Now, I wasn't aware of any of this other stuff because I didn't read it before, but now I've read it. We're already working on the master plan. We're looking for a grant from the county, I thought, to have somebody come in and do the same study.
Not the same study.
Well, how many studies are we going?
Well, I mean, a study is, the master plan is
because
the governing body of how we look at our community and where it should go. in many different directions, right? This is solely economic development based, which is what an IDA should do. So the opportunity is to take this study and to be able to enhance those comprehensive plan meetings, and there would likely be some overlap of people. I think that's great. I think that's what happened the first time with the feasibility study from Labella that the village had. It was at the exact same time as the initial joint comprehensive plan, and it only enhanced the language and what we were able to do. And what I would argue is look at what the village of Lancaster has accomplished, because those two studies worked right in tandem. And that's what New York State likes to see. That's how you get grant funding. And if we're not a perfect representation of the fact that we use these studies to get successful grant funding to fulfill the plan that's, and again, it's the plan that's set out by the community. There will be public meetings for all of these things, or public comment. We don't want it to be just this table. We want it to be everybody from the town of Lancaster, village of Lancaster, and village of Depew talking about economic development specifically. And then that piece of it can be inserted into whatever other language will be added into the joint comprehensive plan.
But basically what you're doing here is you're moving forward, having the IDA pay for something, and what it says specifically in there is they're going to be talking to the people in the town and the villages, and you're having the IDA pay for that, for the master plan study, without consulting the town board itself first, or the village of Depew, or, because again, Kevin's new to this, so I'm not sure how many different studies we have to have. And something like this needs to be discussed with the whole town board. If we want to do that, use these people who are going to come in, and it says right in there, they're going to come and talk to people in the town, in the villages, about what they find. So it seems like we're duplicating efforts here, and personally, I'm not comfortable with going forward with it at this point until we run this type of thing by the town board and see if they want to be involved.
Yeah, I think,
because
I'll interrupt you just so that I don't forget my thought, and then I'll let you continue.
Okay.
The comprehensive plan is solely an update. The only group, Depew's going to have some work because only a piece of Depew was included, and we're looking to include the entirety. But the rest of it, this is not an overhaul. The county is not funding an overhaul of the comprehensive plan. It's update language, and a lot of it's going to be because we've accomplished so much in the village, we need next steps. But I do not believe, yes, I think it's a courtesy. I believe that it talks about creating a committee, and it would be in our best interest as Lida to have committee members be representatives of the town, not necessarily town board, whoever's chosen by the town. There could be X number of town seats, village seats, and village of Depew seats, but we don't need to go to the village of Lancaster and the village of Depew to move forward with economic development goals for Lida. How do we know where we want to see our manufacturing? What do we want to see with our corridors? How do we direct Paul to what type of organizations and businesses to bring in? I think that, if you look at other communities that have been successful, they've geared towards health and sciences, biomed, tech. What is our identity? And I think it is absolutely in the Lancaster IDA's right and our responsibility to figure out what our vision is from a manufacturing industrial development perspective.
Okay, all I'm asking to do at this point is rescind it as it was presented as one piece of legislation, break it into two separate pieces. I've got no problem going ahead with the first half of it, but the second half, no, I'm not for.
But I don't even know if you can, have you checked to see if we could do that?
If the board wants to stop this, I put a motion up. You just vote no, and you just keep this intact. Then you get me the document and I sign it. Right now, I haven't had a contract in front of me, so this has been lingering, and I myself do not see any benefit to the second half of this project.
And I think
at this point in time, they can always be done at a later date. It can always be done at a later date.
I will second that motion because most of the stuff that I have a issue with was covered in that second company talking about the master plan, and you made some great points, but the one thing you also said was then we're going to choose somebody from the town, and the town doesn't know anything about this at this point. So again, from what I read, I agree with you. Go ahead with the first part of it. Hold off on the second part of it.
You can't go forward with the first, that's not even an option.
Yes,
So,
it is. It's right there. They've got it right there. It's for $24,000. They'll do it. And it was presented to us on that meeting. You can go back and watch the meeting as two separate pieces. We could take one or the other. We didn't have to take both. The lady presented it.
in my personal opinion, if you can't split it up that way, then I'd be against the whole thing personally, so. Until there's more involvement from the,
I'm gonna say for myself, I need more time to, I
So
don't know
you-
when you started this, but,
Yeah, I gave you the book last month, and that-
honestly, if I can go back and watch something, I think that's probably too late.
So then the motion
I
shouldn't
don't-
be to rescind, it should be to table.
Well,
I mean,
I was going to
how long a
rescind,
project, how long a timeframe has this gone on for now?
this has been going on since December.
Since the summer, the conversations, we put the RFP out, we got brought in, we only received one proposal. We got that proposal, that was the company, that board voted to move forward with it.
Well, would 4 more weeks?
But he's talking about rescinding, so that means
Well,
take it off the table and we start
I would like
over.
to take a table it myself.
Sure.
But you had a motion
There's a
on the
motion
floor.
on the
so
table.
We'd have to go.
I will withdraw my motion, and I agree with you to, I'll just second to table it at this point.
We could table it in a second,
I'll second.
and then take it back up again.
So under the question, there's still the question, can you separate those two? Are they, and you have them started at, they're working, aren't they?
No.
Not yet? So I would say that we need to know, are they up to separate
It
it?
says it right on the cover, they're proposals.
No,
Two
no.
separate proposals.
I understand that, but I'm saying from here forward to satisfy
Well, they-
mayor's needs for information, next time we discuss this, we should get an understanding from them. Is that, we want to separate
Yeah, well, like I
That's
said,
one of the
you
considerations.
can-
And is that possible for you to do? That company?
Yeah, well, I can contact them and find out, but that's the way it was presented at the meeting.
So just when I'm looking at you're looking at the fee proposal, activity 1, activity 2? Is that what you're
Yes.
talking about? So you want them to do a project kickoff, collect data, review past plans, do a data analysis, and then give no report? Because part 2 is the report.
Well, like I said, let them gather the information. All of this information, I told you before, we can get this off the web. They're using, if you read their booklet here,
For a second.
all that information is census material, it's out there. I pulled some of it up, I had a packet, I didn't bother bringing, I had a whole packet of all this data already compiled for us. All they're gonna do is give you a bunch of pie charts.
They're also going to gather input from what, and I mean, and my thing with this is they're going to gather input from the community. I mean, one of the things that I know we're going to get in there from different meetings is we're going to get a request that we should be building playgrounds.
That we can't do.
But I'm just saying, that's going to be stuff that's in there that when we answer that why we can't do it, but it's going to be in there. It's going to be input from the community to say,
Alright.
this is what we'd like to see. And I know what I'd like to see, but I moved out of that part of the town a long time ago. They'll tell us in there.
Well, you wanna move forward, or you wanna table it, or?
We can table it so everybody can think about it, but that's, I mean, I've seen what the village has started and built and the input it had from the community, and I sat in that room, you invited us, I was there, and there was lots of people that I've worked with and lots of people that I don't work well with. And we were in there, and it's nice, but my vote I like. I'm okay with my vote currently to go forward, but to table it is fine.
Oh,
What, do you want a table, do you wanna just?
I would like for myself to get up to speed.
There is a motion on the floor
Or
to table
table
this.
it. So if you wanna continue with
I'll
that?
second.
It's already been seconded?
Yeah, I'll second it.
It's already been seconded.
Bob seconded it, okay.
So we need a vote on the.
Yeah, so it's just, we're gonna table it.
You're tabling the vote to rescind the contract.
Hey,
Tape-
some
we're-
clarification.
Everything is in the same.
Wait.
Tabling it, and we're
It is
not moving
tabling-
forward with it either, though.
Yeah, I think
But we're not closing the door up.
Okay.
No, that was not.
Okay.
No,
that's right, yeah.
Okay.
no, it's
Can you
still
just
open.
confirm what is the motion on the table?
The motion on the table, as presented originally, was a motion to rescind the contract so that
Right.
Kevin wouldn't sign it, the chair would not sign it.
Correct?
And after discussion, there was a motion made to approve that as to part 1 of the contract by member. Leary. He then withdrew that motion on a suggested motion to table this by the village mayor. And that is where you are now. So once that was withdrawn, you have a motion to table and a second. There's been discussion. If there's no further discussion, then you could proceed to a vote on that motion.
Table.
So basically, we're going to table this and bring it up at our next meeting.
Next meeting.
Yes.
O'Leary?
Yes.
Yes.
Marino?
Yes.
No.
Yes. The only other thing I've got on my list here is we did we did our bylaws, but there's, under our articles, there's a number of items I'd like everybody to read off the internet. It's the Code of Ethics, Conflict of Interest, all of these documents, you can read them very quickly. They're easy to comprehend, but a lot of these haven't been adopted or looked at since 2008. So what I'd like to do is everybody just kind of go through, read all of them, and at the next meeting, we can kind of just real quickly say, okay, we don't have any changes to all of this, we're just going to change the date at the bottom saying that they were read and updated, and that everybody's aware of it. And that's basically was a comment. So, okay. So I guess now we go to Paul.
Just real quick, I talked to Tom Sweeney, Phase 2 of the village project that he's doing is he's meeting with the bankers as we speak, and he's also meeting with the contractors. The mayor and I met with a company just last week, right?
A couple weeks ago, Nick Capozzi from Capozzi Paving.
To build warehouses regarding in the village of Depew, which we were very in favor of. And then I'm disappointed because it looks like we're going to lose that Siebel Modern Manufacturing to the Lovejoy area in the city of Buffalo because they did sign the contract to purchase the property in Lovejoy. And I'm stymied because I can do nothing.
Right, so when we showed up there, I mean, Mr. Capozzi, pretty much said the same thing, that we're just too late to that.
Yeah. Hey, at
But
least
out
we
of that
tried.
conversation, though, he is looking to do, Paul, was he not looking to do like 5 buildings, 50,000 square feet each or something? Right,
Yeah, they're eligible. It's all warehousing and everything else. It's a great project if he comes forward.
Now, that's all within the old dresser plan area?
Yes.
Okay, that'll clean
You're
that up.
right, Kevin. That's exactly where it is.
It'll clean that up, good. We'll take a look at that.
So how do we avoid missing stuff like this in the future? I mean, is there anything we can do to try to keep our people who are
I'm
already
out there
here
like crazy,
here?
Bob. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have an answer for you because if you hear of a company that's talking about moving, you got to get a hold of me right away because I got to get in there right away.
Sure.
Because then I can propose to them what this IDA can do for you.
Okay.
And that's exactly what we should be doing. But to just to keep it into your bailiwick, if you would, that's not good for me.
Maybe the town board mentioned at a town board meeting or something too?
Yeah, is there any type of,
Village, the two villages at your meetings, just maybe, because they're taped, and somebody might hear, we've got, we're looking for businesses, contacts.
is there anything we want to put into the B or any other advertisement we can
You know
do?
what, Bob, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we should do a public relations article as the accomplishments of the last, or the accomplishments now, or the way the board is moving now. Maybe you should brag about yourself. And that to me is a good sign, because that's what I do all the time. Maybe we should start doing some public relations. It's not going to cost us anything to go into the B. We don't have to do the Buffalo Evening News, that's nothing.
Right.
But the reporters used to come here, like Jim Fink used to come here, but he doesn't want to come here because it's on a Friday at 4 o'clock, and he's probably home, so. But we never get anybody from the Buffalo News, so maybe we should just reach out to the penny saver and say, look, this is what this board is doing. A PR thing.
Sinner would write that article in a minute.
Yes, center.
What are we doing?
What? Oh.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank you, Kevin.
no, thank you. Like I said, it's a shame we lost it, we missed it, but hopefully everybody's ears will be perked up and we can move forward and find another home. With that, I don't believe nobody's here for a public meeting.
Under the question, so our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, March
Looks like the 14th.
14th, and then is that public hearing rescheduled?
Well, that's what we're going to give to Andrea, so she can make sure the B gets it. That will be the public hearing, because I believe you told them to be here at the
Yeah,
next, so,
and I did notify them that they wouldn't be on the agenda today, so I will take care of that.
okay. So
And you gotta
that'll-
give
and
me
that'll be at
give me
three-
that date again, please?
That'll be Tuesday, March 14th at 3:30, correct?
That'll be the
Well, did we
public hearing.
motion to have that public hearing? Do we,
Well, let's get our time, we'll make the motion and we'll get that, because we want to make sure everybody's on the same page before we...
So it's Tuesday, the 14th at 3:30, and then we convene the board at 4 o'clock.
We're correct.
Okay.
Okay.
3:30 is the public hearing.
Yes, so I make a motion to make the public hearing for Lucas James at
Second.
3:30.
Yes.
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 And then other question, do we need to make a motion to accept the financial report?
Did I forget to do that? I must have. Make a motion to accept the financial report, thank you.
I'll second that.
Yes.
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 Yes. Now, all of our dates will have to be changed on the website to the site. Perfect.
Yeah, and you know, if I could just say one other
Sure.
thing. If you do like a PR article and you want to get somebody for the penny, I think what you should do is to mention every name of the board members that are here so that they can, so if a company comes and doesn't want to reach out to me, they can reach out to you or to somebody or the mayor or whatever, just on a personal note and say, hey, what can you do for me? And then you call me and then I jump in with you and then we go together. So, and that's what the mayor and I just did with this company that we're talking about.
Okay.
So I think you should let the town know and the village know that you're on this board and you're looking for business.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Beautiful. Now, I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Before we do that, one last time, I'd like to really congratulate you, Michael, and your staff, and how you guys worked
Oh.
tirelessly, worked together to get the data where it straightened out where it belongs, and I really do appreciate that, I really do. Thank you.
Get motion to adjourn, and we had a second?
Second. Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank
If
you.
anybody didn't see the article, our friend Sean Ryan has introduced some bill that would provide the IDA, would not provide, would take away us abating school taxes.
Oh, is that what, okay. I seen the one somebody gave me the article about him, going back and forth about the...
He's always after IDAs anyhow, so. Nice job there, buddy.
Yes, sir.
I gotta sign the papers over there.
Hey, who you working with at Drexler and Malecki?
Nice job there, young lady.
For this,
Like I said, you got my cell phone, you call me, whatever you need.
Okay.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Luke is always fun to work with.
Yeah, I've worked with Charles.
Yep.
Mike, where's the money that we had that produced that $1,800 in interest?
Question for you, just in a quick question.
What's the timeline on Cybele moving? What's the timeline on Cybele
Have
moving?
you looked at New York class? I've become a New York class.
I called the guy and said, no, we already.
I think they would. I'll
I don't have-
point
I don't
Patty
have-
Seville to you.
Yeah, I know, I've got to reach out with the.
That's a,
I think I got all. Even if you put $1 million of that in one, but it's liquid all the way.
Right, yeah.
It says separate. We can do that. Just under $50,000 on $2 million.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we had that.
I'm saying to you is, I'm really upset about this.
Well, like I said, Paul, I'm
not complaining.
No, first of all. Oh, no, and that's like, the minute we heard it, I called him and talked to you. And that's, so that's what we want to do.
Yeah, you ever help me save your need?
Yeah, I'm
right down the road, I can either.
I am gonna need help because
I was gonna say, I don't want to go.
this filled my plate.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
The other part about it is the service with the
But no, we're moving forward in this for sure.
Well, like I said, we're moving forward. What we are doing is we're trying to, this is still going, Andrea, so.
Oh, it's still going?
No, it's not even in our quote now. When I talk to Lee,
It's gonna be the second,
I don't even have administrative.
every second Tuesday.